Hey there everyone, Mazrock here, and today I want to just talk about something I wish was back in the game in one way or another, and that is reforging. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to explain what reforging was in World of Warcraft for those of you that did not play or don't remember, and kind of what are some new ways that we can work with it and why I think it would work in today's game. This is purely opinionated, this is purely subjective. You do not have to take what I'm saying here as absolute, like, groundbreaking holy words or something. It's just an opinion. Okay? Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. It does go such a long way. I'm flabbergasted by everybody in the community who's given me so much support so far. There's a Twitch link down below and a Discord link down below if you would like to continue this conversation forward. As well, if there's any weak words on screen that you see, or any LVOI profile, or my LVOI profile, you can get that all for free in that Discord link down below. And lastly, there's a Patreon link down below if you wish to support me directly with all sorts of goodies. Alright, let's get into it. Reforging. So reforging, what it was back in the day, I think they got rid of it in Mist of Pandaria. And what it was fairly prominent in Cataclysm, was you would go see a reforger and then you could take a piece of gear and reforge some of the stats to something else. So let's say you had a crit mastery pants, right? And you didn't want the critical strike on that. You could go to the reforger, choose the critical strike stat, and choose haste. And what would happen is it would get rid of half of the amount of crit. Let's say it was 200. I'm just going with random numbers here. It would give you 100 crit and 100 haste, and then you keep the mastery. I really, really like this. And I thought that the concept and the idea of it was really, really liked. The problem with reforging back in Cataclysm when I played, and I think this was still a little bit around in Pandaria, I'm not 100% sure on that, I didn't play, but in Cataclysm, reforging was used for your hit stat, because back in the day, little history lesson, you had a hit stat. So all of your reforging was basically like revolving around your to hit, right? Because you always needed an X amount of percentage. Tanks needed so much, every DPS had a different percentage on what their hit stat was to make sure that raid bosses couldn't block or parry, or had the minimal amount of block or parry chance allotted to raid bosses, or whatever have you not, right? Because if you didn't have enough to hit, you were losing out on literally a buttload of DPS to make sure that you could actually by it just being parried or whatever by the bosses. So you were going to the Reforger constantly to manage your hit chance. That sucked. So a lot of people have a negative connotation of what the Reforger is or what it does, because you were always going there to micromanage your hit chance and not your actual secondary stats most of the time until you were pretty much bissed out. But even when you were kind of like almost in all of your best gear and you had like everything at the highest item level, which is a lot easier back then because it was basically just raid. There was no Mythic Plus or whatever in Cataclysm. Like, heroic raid was your way to get geared. Like, that was pretty much it. If you wanted all the best, you were pretty much always, oh, okay, I got a new piece of gear, how's this going to change my hit chance? And then you kind of be like, oh fuck, I gotta go to the Reforger, and I gotta check this, and I gotta do the math, and that sucked. I will admit, that portion of it sucked. But now, if we bring that back into the game, now, there's no hit chance. We can actually, so if you get that piece that's heavy crit and, or maybe it's like big haste and little crit, but it's got good item level, and you're like, I don't really like the crit on this, but I like the item level, but wait, I can go to the Reforger and maybe get some versatility or some mastery or whatever the heck you want to try and kind of re-manage your secondary stats and have a lot of fun with it. And don't get me wrong, I understand the negative connotations to this, where there's going to be a whole lot more sims of going out of, you want this piece of gear with this crit and reforged to this and this and that, and there's always, but the thing is with World of Warcraft, there's always going to be people looking for the cookie cutter and creating the cookie cutter. This is what you need for this, and this is all you should do, and no, absolutely. But the thing is along the process of getting there, being able to reforge your gear of, like, you know, I want more versatility, but I'm not getting any versatility gear, and I really don't want a PvP, and I'm a tank, and I want verse. okay, well, all of this crit mastery, haste crit, haste mastery gear that I'm getting, I can swap stuff around on it and put versatility on it, allowing me to be more defensible and allowing me to really customize and choose my own character. I understand that the higher end play, this can have some negative connotations, but I don't think it's necessarily terrible. I really don't. I think it's actually kind of decent. We have the creation catalyst gap now that you can take a piece of gear and swap it over to something different, right? Whatever the catalyst version of that gear is for the raid and whatever have you not. But I think being able to play and customize your own stats could be just a lot of fun. I like the idea of customizing my own stats, and really, do I want to make the tank that I'm playing do more DPS? Do I want to kind of optimize for a little bit more damage? Do I want to optimize for more tankiness? Do I want to, do I just want to have more haste because it's feeling bad? Do I have too much haste on my gear, but I just don't really want to farm out different gear, and I want to bring more versatility into the mix? Like, what's going on? And I think being able to play with that could be a lot of fun, especially in today's game, and add an easy level of customization to your character that, you know, is completely in your control. You can choose to ignore the Reforger. You could just be like, no, I don't want to deal with it, and just, I have my set gear, and that's what I have, and life is fine. Or you can choose to play around with it and have a lot of fun. Another kind of aspect of this, and the reason why, so I've been talking about reforging for a long time. If you've kind of stuck around my content and watched my streams, I've talked about how great the Reforger was back in Cataclysm, how much I actually did really enjoy it, but it's that negative connotation of the hit chance, which I think kind of has like the Torghast effect on the brain now. This is an unpopular opinion, I'm aware, is actually kind of fun. The problem is in 9.0 when it was released, it was literally tied to player power, and they forced you to do it. Twice a week, they force you to do it, which makes something not fun. The more you're forced to do something, the least likely that you are to be doing that thing. Fact, right? Take a look at spinach. If you were forced to eat spinach and Brussels sprouts as children, and you hated it, you really hate it now. But if you didn't really care, you come to, you know, appreciate the taste of spinach and Brussels sprouts and things like that when you're a little bit older. Brussels sprouts probably not as much. But I mean, you know what? When baked with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, they're actually really, really good. Fight me, don't care. Unpopular opinion. But that's the problem with Torghast now. If you go into Torghast now, there's literally no. You're not forced to do it for any reason whatsoever, aside from if you need Soul Ash or whatever have you not there. And if you recently had to do that, that sucks. But I went through and got my 16 flawless achievements, and I didn't need any Soul Ash or Soul Cinders. Like, I still do not need any. And I did them all on the Blood DK, and I actually had a good time. It was fun content. It was fun solo content in which I got cosmetics and a bunch of stuff for, which was fun. But because I wasn't forced to be doing it for a very long time, so that negative connotation came out of my brain, and I think that's what a lot of people have with the Reforger. Now, one thing that I would like to kind of see, and this is kind of going off into, of course, you know, wild speculation of opinion and things like that. One thing I would love to see is the creation catalyst just get tweaked up. And one thing right now that, in my opinion, feels bad in the game is when you get a lower item level piece and it has a sweet tertiary on it. Like right now on my druid, I have a 265 tier pants with leech, and I got 278 pants. Now, do I want the 278 pants or do I want the leech? And now it feels bad because I have two different pieces of gear. One has stats that I want, the other one doesn't. So what do? I would like to see some way to, like, creation catalyst those two pieces of gear together so I could keep the leech on, you know, if it was just pants, you could take two pairs of pants and I could be like, all right, I want to take the leech and I want to put it on the higher ones. Because tertiary stats like that are hard enough to get as it is. Now, get that onto a piece of gear that you want. Like, I mean, my monk still only has one piece of tertiary gear whatsoever. And if I was allowed to kind of combine or creation catalyst two pieces of gear together with tertiaries that I did want, I might have three at this point. You know what I mean? It's not like totally game breaking where I'm going to have so many tertiary stats to choose from and all of this stuff where I can be like, I'm going to be like so decked out in leech by month 2 it's going to be crazy. No, you don't get them that often. They're really nice to have, but you don't get them that often. So taking a lower piece of gear and bringing it up, I think would be really, really sweet and reward you for being lucky early on. And, you know, of course, cost a currency or whatever. Make it cost flux. We have plenty of it. I've got 60k on my paladin. Who cares? But being able to really customize that. So I would love to see a Reforger. And I'd love to see on the tweak on the creation catalyst. What do you guys think on that? Of course, like I said, this is purely opinionated. It's, you know, subjective. I would love to hear your comments down below. Let's keep it civil. But I would love to see the Reforger come back. Thanks again for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe. Have yourselves a great day.